Hey everybody. Um, hey everybody. I just wanted to go live real quick because the Lord was leading me to do this. I wanted to make a video, but I couldn't. I didn't want to just. I just felt led to go live, so I wanted to talk about um, statues and the way the way people set up statues nowadays. We have to be careful because the issue with this is that if you set up a statue, what are you setting a statue up for? Back in the day, in the Old Testament, people would make idols and they would create an idol and they would worship the idol. And now we see statues set up for people. And some usually it's set up to memorize to memorial people. And that's not that bad. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you set up a statue and sometimes you set it up and people are still alive, you have to be very careful of that because you don't want to set up a image of a person and create it as an idol. If we go to Revelation, and I mean this, like we see these things where you see like sports figures, they set up a statue, they want to set up a statue for it. So why? So we have to think to ourselves, why are they so quick to set up a statue for sports figures or coaches or something like that? We have to remember that to make sure that we do not go and fall into idol worship. And some people do create sports as an idol. And what I mean by that is some people take it too far. Now, it's okay to have a sports team as your favorite team. When you come to it's the point where the sports team is making you fight other people, that's too far. That's too far. That's when you're creating an idol. You're setting it up and you're making that sports team. It has an effect. When you see people crying about sports and stuff, they haven't betted on it or anything. They're not losing any money. Gambling is wrong either, but they're doing these things and they're crying and stuff like that and so upset. It should not affect you that much that your sports team loses. Why? Because you're not getting any money off of it. You're not getting any career. Now, these sports players, that's their career. That's their job. So of course, God's going to help them in their job. And just like anybody else has a job, God can still uh, cares about sports because that's those people's jobs and livelihoods. So just like he cares about what we care about, he cares about what they care about. But those are the players on the field. They're celebrating, understandable, and it's okay to cheer on your team. But there's a problem with idol worship, and like I said, setting up these statues, not just with sports. I'm just giving that as an example because people there'll be a coach that does well, and they'll set up a statue for them, and it's like, what are we doing? Are we memorializing these people after they pass away? It's one thing, but when you start setting up statues and these people are still alive, you kind of crossing the boundary into idol worship. And this is in the word too. So we have to remember that what spirit are we working in? We always got to think, what spirit are we working in? I'm gonna go to Revelation 15. And this is what the false prophet or the antichrist is going to do. And it sounds familiar if you think about it. Let's go to Revelation 13. Revelation 13. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason because I am a Browns fan, but at the same time, I don't use it as an idol. It doesn't bother me when I'm not trying to fight someone if the team loses. I just go pick up and move and keep going. So I'm wearing it for a reason. But chapter 13, 15. Wait, no, chapter 13, Revelation 13. I'm going to start with 11. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in sight of men. Now remember it, 12. I'll go back to 12. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those to dwell in it worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Continue to 13. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Now listen, pay attention to this. And he deceives those who dwell on earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. So the Antichrist is going to set up the image of himself, and the false prophet is going to make people worship the image of the Antichrist. And as we see images all the time, people set up these statues. It's all a play rehearsal for the end times. That's all it is. Because when people start setting up an idol and an image of a person who's still alive to this day, and that person's alive, that is what the Antichrist is going to do. Let's keep going to 15. Now, I'm not saying these people are Antichrist. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying we just have to think about the spirit in which we do things. Why are we doing this? Would the Lord like us making a statue of someone? You know, back in the day, people made statues of Greek goddesses and gods. Why? Because they would worship them. Okay, I'm just telling you where this comes from, y'all. Okay, so 15. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. Now, it's talking about a mark. Now, back in the day, people were like, well, how can this happen? It was so far gone because people didn't understand how back in the day when they didn't have internet, when they didn't have technology. Now that the technology is coming through, we have internet, and you can actually do this. There's ways you can cause, because we have the cards and the way the government's working, they set up your cards and things like that. And now you can they're putting chips in people's hands, and they're using it as payment. So all this stuff is starting to come together, guys. This stuff is starting to all come together, and people didn't understand how this could happen back then. But now with technology has boomed and everything like that, these revelations are starting to look more clear. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, for the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Now they say this is the number of the beast is 666. Now that is the Antichrist number, not the devil number. 666 is the number of the Antichrist. Now, I've looked through the Bible, and I wanted to discern this number. And I looked through the Bible, and I saw one thing, and I see nothing's a coincidence. I noticed in Ecclesiastes, or I noticed in I think it's Samuel, or when they were talking about let me see, with Solomon. Now, there's a verse in here, Solomon. It says that Solomon was the richest person in the world richest person ever to ever live. Now, Solomon had an amount of talents of gold he would get every year. And the amount, this happened to be 666 talents, 666 talents of gold. Now, I'm not saying Solomon's the Antichrist. Please don't get that from what I'm saying. What I'm saying, though, is 6 is the number of man. Solomon was the richest man alive, and the most he could get out of gold was 666 talents. That is not a coincidence. There's no coincidence in the Bible. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to say Solomon is the Antichrist, but the fact that the number is 666, the amount of talents of gold he got was 666. That's something to be thought about, okay? The enemy uses the amount of riches and the amount of money, the most amount of money that someone ever gotten, and he uses that number for a reason, because it attaches wealth and money and finances to that number. Now, like I said, there is no sin in having money. There's no sin in having money, of course, but the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of it, and when you get a love of that money, that is the root of what? All evil. Now, remember that everything in the Bible is supposed to be here. Everything in the Bible is nothing coincidence. So I just wanted to talk about statues and how there can be spirits in statues. Just like in Revelation, it says that there was a spirit. He granted the power. Image, it says 15, he was granted power to give the breath to the image of the beast. To give breath, that's a spirit. Okay, we know that the devil cannot create life. So it says he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast. That the image of the beast. Now, this image is going to be some type of statue. I'm thinking it's going to be some type of AI development or some person, whatever. But he gets power from the. Now, this is unholy power. The unholy power. There's two powers from different kingdoms. The kingdom of God has a power which is way vastly greater than the kingdom of the enemy. But they also have a power, even though it's a false power. They still have power. And it says he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not to worship the image of the beast to be killed. So it's that image that's going to cause people to worship him. And he's going to cause the people to be killed. So that image, so it's going to be an image, so it's going to be an AI type, I'm guessing, type of image that can move and speak. And the enemy is going to give breath to it, and it's going to be surpassed by spirits. So this shows that spirits can inhabit things. Spirits can inhabit things. We already know that spirits can inhabit pigs. If we go to Matthew, and it talks about how the spirits came into the pigs and ran away after Jesus had rebuked them, and the spirits end up going into the pigs. So that's in the gospel, the first four gospels. I'm not gonna go to the exact verse, but y'all can look it up. But yeah, so spirits can inhabit people, animals, and we know they can inhabit things, because in the end times, that spirit is going to be inside it. So I say that you have to be careful of technology too. Spirits can go into technology as well. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to give you the truth. Okay, but that's all I wanted to say. I believe God wanted me to